So the subcommittee on Menhaden for the Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee will come to order. We only have one bill today, Senator D. Steff's bill number. Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Please call the roll.
Senator McClellan.
Aye. Here.
Senator Stewart. Senator Lewis. Senator Mason.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're here to hear Senate Bill 1467. Senator D. Steff.
Mr. Chair, members of the subcommittee, Senate Bill 1467 is the Menhaden bill. And basically, this is brought to me by a bunch of the fishermen. And the reason for them bringing this bill to me is simple. They've been processing the catch right inside the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel area. And when that happens, when omega-3 protein does that, we have two or three issues with it. One, a lot of the sludge, so to speak, the oil and blood, wash up on the beach. And if you could imagine the horror of a mother when her child comes out of the bayfront beaches, out of the water, and his white swimsuit now is red and has blood on it. And what's happened at a couple of our local hotels, both, and I'll speak for some of the beaches over in Norfolk, but ours, we have hotels on the beach. They've had to have their staff go out and clean up the mess off the beach. And A, this isn't fair to the businesses to have to reallocate staff to do that. But B, about 15 years ago, we had a gentleman's agreement that this would not happen in the mouth of the bay. And it's happening. And it continues to happen. And then with the overfishing, and I know, Mr. Chairman, we just turned this over to VMRC this past year, but with the overfishing on the Menhaden, it's really impacted our sport fishing and our local fishermen drastically. And as we know, the Menhaden is a bait fish for everything from our dolphins to our sea bass to the bluefish to everything you can imagine in the bay. So with that, what we'd like to do, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, we'd like to say in the territorial waters of the Commonwealth lying west of or within 3 miles of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, nothing will be processed, and basically leave the Menhaden alone there. So that's what we're hoping, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief, and I'm happy to answer any questions from anyone.
Thank you, Senator D. Steff. And you're correct. Last year, Senator Lewis did some good work bringing folks together and making sure we moved the management of this to VMRC. I also serve on the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission, and they have reduced the quota this year in response to the overfishing last year. I will ask the clerk to open up to see if we have any speakers. Is there anyone speaking in favor of Senator D. Steff's bill?
At this time, Mr. Chair, there are no hands raised.
Okay, and so we'll also take anyone in the queue to speak against Senator D. Steff's bill, and please try to keep it brief and to the point. Thank you.
Ben Landry, please go ahead.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hey, great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Ben Landry. I represent Omega Protein. We wholeheartedly oppose this legislation. The simple facts of the matter is that this fishery is not troubled. It's not overfished, contrary to what supporters of the bills may say. The best available science said that the stock is actually growing. There was mention of a gentleman's agreement that was struck in 2015. Excuse me. That violation has not been violated. Menhaden reduction boats are not fishing within the coastline of Virginia Beach near those tourism hotspots at the request of charter boat fishermen. So we acknowledge that that's an area that between Memorial Day and Labor Day that our vessels are unwanted, and we don't harvest fish there. So there also seems to be some confusion or misinformation on that. So we urge you to vote no on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Landry. The other speakers?
Michael Wilson, please unmute and go ahead.
Good morning, Michael Wilson with United Food and Commercial Workers, Local 400. We represent the workers who fish for omega protein, and we're also wholeheartedly opposed to this bill. There were some compromises and restrictions made last year, and I think that we've been following them. Our members have been following them. Omega's been following them, and there's no need for further restriction at this point. These are jobs out of Reedville, Virginia. We represent close to 100 fishermen there. They're some of the only good jobs in that part of the state that are union and support families and communities around the Northern Neck. Further restrictions on fishing would obviously have a detrimental impact on our members in that area as well as the community. And we want to make sure that what happens here is based on the science and based on the facts, and don't feel that there's any further restrictions needed at this time, and strongly oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. The other speakers?
Chris Moore, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is Chris Moore, Chesapeake Bay Foundation. We just wanted to highlight the good work that was done during last year's session to move management of Atlantic Menhaden from the General Assembly to the Virginia Marine Resources Commission. And we feel this is the best venue to discuss these type of issues moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any other speakers?
Heather Wright, please go ahead. Heather Wright, please unmute and go ahead.
I would like to say that I'm against this bill. Oh, this is Heather Wright. Public comment. I would just say I'm against this bill because it could affect the jobs of many individuals who depend on that area to make their money, and their families as well. And I don't think that's fair to those individuals when I personally and my family frequent the beach area quite often, and I don't see it as being nearly as big of an issue as what it seems like the committee is making it out to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Is that our final speaker, Mr. Clerk?
At this time, there are no other hands raised.
Thank you very much. Senator DeSteff, the last word.
Mr. Chairman, I will admit that it is not as big of an issue as it was 3 or 4 years ago when we were having multiple violations every day of this, where we would get pictures, both myself and the former Senator Frank Wagner were getting pictures from our constituents who were on the beaches every single day. Now we're down to 1 or 2 isolated incidents a year, but it is still happening. It's still there. It's still prevalent. And I just hope that we can get to a point where the gentleman's agreement is upheld and where the Menhaden come back very, very strong and our agreements are upheld, and where we fish for a little less Menhaden and allow it to be truly what it was meant to be, which is a bait fish. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator DeSteff. Mr. Meacham just appeared on the screen. Do you need us, sir? Okay. Okay. Well, Senator DeSteff, thank you for bringing the bill and for your representation of your region. I would just make sure that if this is a perennial effort, that you make sure you update your information and focus on what has happened in the immediate following year, because I do think most folks are trying to live up to the gentleman's agreement and have been trying to do so. So in light of the speakers, in light of the work that Senator Lewis did last year, I think we are loath as a committee to make any waves or adjust what had been done. We need to make sure the management of VMRC has some time and hopefully, and we expect it to work very well. So with that, I will move to pass by the bill indefinitely, and Senator Lewis seconds.
Senator McClellan.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Lewis.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Mason.
Aye.
Ayes 3, no 0.
I thank the committee, and Senator DeSteff, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and the committee as well.
Got it. The committee will rise.